So, me and my family just got out of watching the Spider-Man No Way Home, and I wanted to just talk about it a little bit. I wanted to do a little bit of a movie review for this channel because I thought that was something cool that I can start doing. It's reaction, kind of a reaction, but let's talk about it. So when we first start talking about it, I'm just gonna do a spoiler-free review. I'll put a little point on screen and give you like a 5-second sort of warning before I start talking about spoilers. But right now, I just want to give the initial opinion. That was a pretty good damn movie. It was a very emotional and dramatic movie, and the love for the characters, you can tell it was there. This movie is purely just like for the fans. Like, the fans are going to love this shit and they're going to eat it up, kind of like I am doing. I really did enjoy this movie, but that's to say there isn't any flaws to it. It's not perfect, but for a movie to be perfect is nearly impossible. There's some spots where this movie slips up, but where it hits so well. And when I say that this is the first superhero movie I have ever cried in, there's only been about like 4 things in history that I've cried to in like media. That's why it's like the fact that a Spider-Man movie made me cry is pretty fucking phenomenal to me. The fact that they managed to pull out so many dramatic and impactful moments in this movie was astounding. It didn't feel like there was any wasted moments in this movie, and the best part about it is it's that 2.5 hour runtime. It did not feel like 2.5 hours. Every moment was so fun and enjoyable. You were forgetting that the time was going by, and before you know it, you're like, holy shit, it's over? Wow, that was crazy. You felt fulfilled at the end of it, but it didn't feel like a drag, which is one of the problems that some of the recent MCU movies like The Eternals had, where it just dragged some points because it was kind of boring. This movie was not boring. This movie was fun, this movie was dramatic, and this movie was just enjoyable all around. So with that, I'm going to move into spoilers now. I'll put a little timer here. I think I gave you 5 seconds. What points made me tear up? I think there was one point where I got close to tearing up, and that was when they were on the building talking about their losses, the different Spider-Men. When they were talking about their losses, that was really like a damn, like, yeah, that shit did happen. And when you watch the movies, it hits a little bit harder. But the moment that made me fucking, the tear marks just started fucking rolling, was the best character fucking redemption I've seen in so long. And it was when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was able to save MJ because he wasn't able to save Gwen. The emotion in this movie was so much stronger than any other Marvel movie has ever done, because it really shows you that, like, your consequences have actions. And, like, the death of Aunt May was crazy, but, like, at the end, the rage, and they tried to do this sort of rage thing in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when that dickhead Captain America just started beating his head into the ground because he just killed his homie. It didn't have the same, even close to the amount of impact as when Peter, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, was whooping the shit out of Green Goblin. I have never seen a Spider-Man beat down like that in any piece of media. I've never seen Spider-Man go that fucking crazy. And when he was about to kill Goblin, you felt it and you understood why he was doing that. And when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man came in and grabbed the fucking glider, and you knew that from his story earlier in the movie that he hunted down the person that killed Uncle Ben. He wasn't gonna let the other Tom Holland Spider-Man make the same mistake. And while there was some great jokes in the movie and stuff, none of them felt out of place, and all of them felt like in character. And like, even at the thing where they're like, who the fuck are the Avengers? Like, it makes sense why they're saying this shit, and it's good comedy during these high intense scenes. And I really did enjoy that about the movie. The one thing that I do see is sort of a flaw, and my brother even brought it up. It's kind of the Spider-Man flaw all around the board. Too many villains is a bit difficult. The one thing that was nice about this movie is you already had previous movies building up these villains, so you didn't need to introduce them. Goblin was amazing. Doc Ock was amazing. And Electro was amazing. I'd say that this is probably the best you've seen all 3 of them. Where it falls short is with Lizard and Sandman. Lizard's character was just there to be evil. He didn't have any real gain. He just was evil to be evil, and that's all. I think there was more to his character in the Andrew Garfield movie. And with Sandman, his morals got sort of twisted, where maybe I'm missing something, but he wanted to see his daughter, and he helped Spider-Man at the beginning. I can see him ending up in the crypt with the other supervillains, and then maybe turning a little bit after here with Doctor Strange said. But when you see that Spider-Man was able to grab that box and was like, I'm letting you guys out. We're going to try to help you. Sandman was totally down to help him. But where I got a little confused is when all of a sudden he just turned. Because I felt Sandman just did want to go back to his daughter and stuff. And yeah, he did get switched up, but he was the closest to a good guy at the end of any of those movies because he sacrificed himself. So his character had a bit of a rocky motive, so to say. I'm not sure why the character did what he did, but I see how it pushed the story forward. With two bad characters, we got a ton of amazing characters. I thought Ned's character played his role. Doctor Strange played his role pretty well. Wong stepping out kind of made sense. I also found it funny that Wong is Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange got blipped out for 5 years. That's kind of interesting. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man were phenomenal in this movie. And I think even if you can say that, yes, Sandman and Lizard weren't the best characters and they didn't even really need to be here, having the other Spider-Man makes up for it. And I think because of that, this is probably one of the better Spider-Man movies because it builds, if you watch all the movies together, this is the climactic finale. This is the Infinity War endgame of the Spider-Man universe, the Spider-Man mythos. The only thing that's missing is that of the Miles Morales in that. And especially with the post-credit scene where Venom, he didn't do anything, but he left a little bit of drop of symbiote in there. That's all you needed to do. You needed to introduce the symbiote into the universe, and that builds a huge story that we can push forward in the future of the MCU. Because symbiotes changed the fucking game in Marvel. They're some of the most powerful beings, and their strength fucking matches God. So having a symbiote in that universe really builds up the thing, and it doesn't assassinate the character of Venom from the other two movies. It keeps them in their own thing. They do know about the multiverse, but I guess they do forget about Peter Parker because nobody remembers who Peter Parker is now. And I'm not sure the whole what that means for the other two, if the people in their universe forget who Peter Parker is, because that could be a problem too. And I can see that ending up going somewhere, but I think that could have just been a plot hole. Overall, I would give the Spider-Man No Way Home, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. Yes, my main only problem with it is that of two villain not being used properly. I was worried and I came out satisfied. And especially with the fact that now the Spider-Man universe can go out and do whatever the fuck they want. Because now, guess what? Spider-Man's not tied to anybody. Maybe he's still tied to the Avengers and stuff, but nobody knows who he is, and Peter Parker is back to his roots. And that's a very interesting idea. And that's very exciting. Especially learning that he has at least 3 more movies left in him. So, Spider-Man No Way Home, I really enjoyed the movie. Really hit me deep, as you can see by the fucking Lego Daily Bugle in the corner. I am a big fan of Spider-Man. I've always been a fan of Spider-Man. But as you can see up there, if it's not the first issue of Hunter x Hunter is actually in the box, but that whole box to the left is Spider-Man comics, Amazing Spider-Man issues. I'm a very big fan of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's always been in my life, with the first movie coming out in 99 and I was born in 2000. I grew up with these damn movies. I grew up with all of them. And I'm glad to see a sort of fulfillment for some of the characters we didn't get to see in the franchise, and to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man push forward, man. Really appreciate all of you for sticking around. And with that, I'm out. Peace.